Dr. Parker. I will reconvene this meeting at 8:57 p.m. I will go through and do a roll call to make sure that we have everybody here with us still. Councillor Atwell, are you here?
Present, Madam President.
Thank you. Councillor Bias.
Digitally present, Madam President.
Thank you. Councillor Coles.
Madam President, I've tried to ring Councillor Coles and had no response. I'll just hang on a second. Try to call me back. 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, thank you.
Reluctantly, but I'm here.
Thank you, Councillor Coles. Councillor D'Agostino.
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Duggan.
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Singh.
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Strange.
Here, Madam President.
Thank you. Councillor Straughtons.
I am here.
Thank you. Mr. Martin.
I am here too, Madam President.
Thank you. Acting Director of Community and Acting Director of Community and Organisational Development.
Present, Madam President.
Thank you. Director of Development Services.
Present, thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Director of Corporate Services.
Present, thank you.
Director of Infrastructure Services.
I'm here. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Manager of Governance and Strategy.
I'm here, thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Governance Officer, Council and Committees, Minute Taker.
I'm here, thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you. Item 10.3, Corporate Services Reports. 10.3.1, Confirmation of Payment of Creditors, March 2022. Can I please have a mover for this motion? Thank you, Councillor Singh. Thank you, Councillor Strange to second. Is there anybody opposed to this motion? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 10.3.2, Confirmation of Payment of Creditors, April 2022. Can I please have a mover for this motion? Thank you, Councillor Duggan. Can I please have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Singh. Is there anybody opposed to this motion? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 10.3.3, Monthly Financial Report, March 2022. Can I please have a mover for this motion? Thank you, Councillor Singh. Can I please have a seconder for this motion? Thank you, Councillor Duggan. Is there anybody opposed to this motion? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 10.3.4, March 2022 Quarterly Budget Review. Can I please have a mover for this motion? Thank you, Councillor Duggan. Can I please have a seconder for this motion? Thank you, Councillor Singh. Is there anybody opposed to this motion? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 10.3.5, Corporate Business Plan Performance Report, January to March 2022. Can I please have a mover for this motion? Thank you, Councillor Duggan. Councillor Singh, you happy to second?
Yes, Madam President. Can I ask a quick question on that, if I'm allowed to?
Yes, please.
Okay, on page 175 of the agenda, we have specified 22 actions identified at risk or behind target. So we are on 16 May. It's one and a half month left in the financial year closing. Are we able to meet those targets, or we need to get these some of the projects being transferred to next financial year? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Singh. Director?
As per the remedial action, it is hoped that we can get those projects back on track.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
Is there anybody opposed to this motion? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 10.3.6, councillor fees and allowances 2022-23. Can I please have a mover for this motion? Councillor Coles.
Yeah, thanks, Madam President. I've just got a question, and I mean this question respectfully for all concerned. Everyone would be aware that on the 2nd of June, there's another court hearing about the North Ward election, which involves myself and another councillor. I'm just wondering whether it's legally prudent to consider this when potentially on the 2nd of June there could be a decision which removes myself and the other person. So I'd like some advice on that. That's the first part. And secondly, perhaps I would like to actually exclude myself from being involved in this simply because of the upcoming court case. Can I get some advice on that, please?
Mr. Martin, CEO, would you be able to provide some advice to Councillor Coles?
Certainly, Madam President. The advice we provided in regards to council operations, notwithstanding the invalidity complaint remains the same, that we keep doing our normal business until somebody decides otherwise. So I think this information feeds into the budget, and it's something the council considers every year. So my recommendation would be that it's best that council considers it, which is why it's on the agenda for. Council could always defer it if they wanted to the June meeting. It's an option available, but we keep presenting reports and council keeps doing its business, and that changes if and when someone decides it shouldn't. So in regards to Councillor Coles' participation, Councillor Coles would need to declare a financial interest in the matter if he wasn't going to be part of the consideration of the report. Although, you know, it's not a financial interest declaration matter. And the councillor could disconnect himself from the call and leave the room if he wished, and we could call him back in after that. So they're the options available.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Councillor Coles, does that satisfy?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I am going to discretion is a better part of valor. This doesn't sit right with me. I have emailed the Director of Corporate Services with my minimum fee. I may well not be a councillor come the 2nd of June if the court determines that the election was invalid. I think it's not proper for me to participate in this discussion, so I will now remove myself from the meeting.
Madam President, Councillor Stroughton's here. If we're following normal process from here on, I'd like to move the alternate motion that I sent through an email today.
Thank you, Councillor Strawtons. Dr. Parker, can you please confirm that Councillor Coles has left the meeting?
I can.
Thank you. We have have an alternate motion put forward by Councillor Strawtons that has been circulated to all councillors.
Madam President, in the interest of the minutes, can I ask that Councillor Strawtons read the intent of the motion, or read most of the motions, please?
Yes, Councillor Strawtons.
So if I said the intent, does that summarise it? Is that good enough, or you would like it word for word? Oh, hold on.
I think even just the intent's fine, Councillor.
Okay, yeah, the intent is to establish a benchmark. I feel that there's been a lot of mixed messages about what the reduced sitting fee and allowances have been used for, and for example, I thought that they were for special projects nominated by council, and they have drifted off and been swallowed up in a broader budget. So I don't think the benefit is as big as it has been in the past.
Thank you, Councillor. Do I have a seconder for the alternate motion put forward by Councillor Strawtons? Motion lapses for want of a seconder. We'll return to the officers' report. There is a number of options that have been put forward by officers for councillors to make for councillors' consideration to make a decision on. Would anybody like to move one of the other options? Councillor Atwell.
Oops, sorry. I should like to move option 1.
Option 1.
And Councillor Atwell, can you indicate for the benefit of the minutes that what the intent of that, or what the wording of that is?
Yes, the council resolves no changes are made to councillor fee and allowance entitlements for the 22-23 financial year, so that fees and allowances remain at the level set in 2018-19. Is that enough? Or?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Atwell. Do I have a seconder for the motion put forward by Councillor Atwell? Thank you, Councillor Duggan. Is there anybody opposed to this motion? Councillor Strawtons. Councillor Atwell, would you like to open debate, please?
Yes, Madam President. I think it's appropriate that we remain where we are at the moment. It's not a huge increase if we go to the next level, which is 75% of what the allowance is. But I think it's entirely appropriate that we just, in this current environment, that we show a little bit of leadership there and leave it as it is now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Atwell. Councillor Duggan, would you like to speak or reserve?
I'll speak. Thanks, Madam President. Just briefly, I agree that I certainly took on this role, as I know other councillors did, to represent the community, and this is a shire that is not flush with cash. So to put some money back into the community, I think, is the best one of the best things I can do as a councillor. I hear Councillor Strawtons' perspective, certainly, that I too would like to see better documentation and also better advertising on where that money that we choose to forfeit is spent, and so it's better advertised in the community. I know at times when I have mentioned it to other community members that the councillors by choice take a significant bump below the band 2 allowance. There is surprise, and I think that should be better advertised. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Strawtons, would you like to speak against?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. Yeah, very much similar to Councillor Duggan just then. My main issue is with the fact that when a councillor comes on board, they're not given information as to why the sitting fees and allowances as they are. So you then formulate your own understanding, and my understanding was that it went towards website, which I thought was fantastic. And I gained an understanding that as a set of councillors, we would identify a project to put it towards, which I also thought was enthusiastic about. And my own recollection, whether it's be fact or not, was as the year went, I did raise the topic in chambers, and I gained the impression it was forgotten about. I then gained the answer that still some projects would be suggested, and then it was just rolled into the budget. So, you know I voted for that budget, but of course, there's times to put your hand up and discuss things, and this is the most appropriate time. I think we need to get back to focusing on special projects that this money is put towards, so that the residents gain the greatest benefit from it, and it is communicated to them. I mean, our website, does it have, for example, a little badge that says this website is made possible by this salary and allowance sacrifice of sitting councillors? Of course it doesn't. And maybe it ought to, because we do want our residents to have confidence in us, that we have their best interests at heart. And it is an absolute strong message that reduced sitting fees and allowance goes towards that message, but it's sort of been too loosely managed, and so the strong message is lost. So that's what I'm against. If we can fix all that, then I'm all for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Straughtons. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak for the motion? I will actually speak for the motion. And I agree with parts of what all councillors that have spoken so far for this item have stated, and there are some parts I don't agree with. The State Allowances Tribunal makes a decision on a minimum and a maximum amount that banned councils are able to pay in a sitting fee and allowance to its elected members. And as a band 2 local government council, we have a maximum and a minimum. As a council previously, we have made resolution to accept 75% of what that maximum is. And realistically, that other 25% is still not councillor money. It is money that is budgeted in municipal funds to be used for any part of the budget across our district. In the first financial year of when council made the resolution to drop from 100% back to 75%, there was a significant saving that had already been budgeted, and councillors put that money towards, budgeted that money towards the upgrade of the Shire website. In the years moving forward from there, when we set the budget at what the decision and resolution of council is for the councillor sitting fees and allowances. And if that is 75%, or if it is like 72.3% as this equates to, that is what we set. And the rest of the money that would make up that 100% is part of municipal funds. It is something that we will budget into something else, whether it be roads, footpaths, drainage, whatever it is, that wherever we need it in the budget. It's not something that as a councillor we can say, well, we gave that to you, because we didn't. We actually make a decision and pass resolution on what we have in front of us. Where that that money goes is then not part of the councillor sitting fees, because we have a resolution that our councillor sitting fees will be whatever percentage we have that we've made the resolution on. So I'm quite happy with the resolution that we have before us this evening, and I'm happy to move forward. Is there any other councillor that would like to speak against this motion? Councillor Atwell, would you like to close the debate, please?
Yes, I don't think I need to say much more rather than just put it straight to the vote, Madam President.
Thank you, Councillor Atwell. Councillor Atwell, are you for or against?
I am for, yes, Madam President.
Thank you. Councillor Bias, are you for or against?
For.
Thank you. Councillor Coles, no, he's not here. Councillor D'Agostino, are you for or against?
For.
Thank you. Councillor Duggan, for or
For.
against?
For, thanks.
Councillor Singh, for or against?
For.
Thank you. Councillor Strange, for or against?
For the motion, Madam President.
Thank you. Councillor Stroughton, for or against?
For.
Thank you. I myself are for the motion, so the motion has been carried 8-0. Thank you, councillors.
Madam President, can I suggest now that we contact Councillor Coles and invite him to rejoin the meeting?
Yes, please, Mr. Martin.
Councillor Coles, can you confirm that you're with the call again, please?
Yep, I'm back. Thanks, Dr. Parker.
Thank you, Councillor Coles. The council has passed resolution for option 1, sorry, that council resolves no changes are made to councillor fee and allowance entitlements for the 2022-23 financial year, so that fees and allowance remain at the level set in the 2018-19, being annual allowance fee councillor $17,250, annual attendance fee president $23,131, annual allowance president $47,045, annual allowance deputy president $11,761, and the IT allowance at $3,500.
Thank you, Madam President.
Item 10.3.7, review of delegations and authorisations 2021-2022. Can I please have a mover for this motion? Thank you, Councillor Duggan. Can I please have a seconder for this motion? Thank you, Councillor Atwell. Is there anybody opposed to this motion? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 10.3.8, contract management policy. Can I please have a mover for this item? Thank you, Councillor Duggan. Can I please have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Atwell. Is there anybody opposed to this motion? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 10.4, community and organisational development reports. Councillor Duggan.
Madam President, I'll step out for this one, thanks.
Thank you.
Madam President, could I propose an alternate resolution for this one, please?
Councillor D'Agostino, what would your alternate be, please?
That we defer the consideration of the item until the June OCM.
Is that a procedural deferment or a deferment for further information?
Probably the latter, I presume. Not sure of the distinction, but presumably the latter.
If it's a procedural deferment, it'll come back to council with no further information. If you are chasing or wanting further information, you need to state for the officers what you require them to do.
Well, then, yes, it's the latter. I can go. I've got a list of a multitude of questions which I can go through.
Yes, please.
All right. So I think some of them were in the email today. And some of those answers are do require additional information. So I'll go through some of the other questions. I mean, so
do you have the questions that you can email to the Minute Secretary?
not well, I've got the ones of that were in the email today, and then there's some additional ones. But I mean, maybe the ones in the ones in the email today are a good start.
Which you have a response to from the acting director.
Correct. Well, I can raise questions to the responses if that's the way you want to do it. That
would be fine.
So, starting with question 1, where it says that the deferment might incur additional legal expenses. Who will incur those additional legal expenses, given it's normally the lessee that incurs the costs for an extension of an option?
Acting Director.
Might ask if the Director of Corporate Services can assist with a response to that answer.
Yes, of course.
No, I would need to take that on motion, on notice.
I think, Madam President, the problem isn't, and I understand, because the director was away today, that a lot of the...
Councillor D'Agostino, could I make the suggestion that you move the deferral motion pending a list of questions for you to supply to the officers for response, please?
Yes, thank you.
Councillor Coles, are you happy to second that motion?
I am. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councillor Coles. Councillor Strange, do you have a question or?
No, sorry, I was also happy to second it.
Thank you. Is there anybody opposed to the deferral motion with Councillor D'Agostino to supply a list of questions he would like responses to the officers? Councillor Bias.
Not opposed. I just have a really pedantic wording issue because the way that's written, the matter be deferred pending a list, grammatically it means that we're deferring it until a list is received. So I just want to make sure that this, from the CEO, that's the correct wording for the office to proceed in the way that Councillor D'Agostino has indicated.
Councillor Bias, you beat me to the comment. Councillor D'Agostino, can I suggest some alternative wording that might be the matter be deferred to provide officers an opportunity to respond to questions from councillors regarding this matter?
That's fine, thank you.
And Councillor Coles, would you be happy with that alternative wording as the seconder of the motion?
Yes, thank you.
So the matter be deferred to provide officers an opportunity to respond to questions from councillors. Can we add, Minute Secretary, can we add the word from councillors regarding this matter? Councillor D'Agostino, did you want to put in there to the June meeting, or are you happy that we would do our best to come back to the June meeting?
Oh, I'm happy either way. Happy to leave it as it is, or insert June either way. I know we're all on the same page. We want to get it sorted. So
Yep, it's fine the way it is then. Thank you.
Is there anybody opposed to this motion? Councillor Coles, do you have a question or have you just forgotten to take your hand down?
Sorry, I've lowered the hand.
Thank you. Is there anybody opposed to this motion? Motion is carried unanimously. Can I please ask that councillors have their questions in writing to the staff by the end of this week so that those responses can be prepared, please?
I know it's self-explanatory, Madam President, but can I get a reason from Councillor D'Agostino for the difference to the officer recommendation? I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but we need a reason for the minutes anyway.
Thanks. Yes, to seek clarification and further information on the tender outcome.
Thank you. You happy with that, Councillor D'Agostino?
That wording's fine, thank you.
Dr. Parker, can you please request the presence of Councillor Duggan?
Councillor Duggan, can you please confirm that you've been readmitted to the call, please?
Thanks, Dr. Parker.
Thank you, Councillor Duggan. Council has resolved to defer this item to the June meeting with a request for further information with questions to be submitted to the officers.
Thanks, Madam President.
Move to item 10.4.2, Major Events Grants, Round 2, 2021-2022. Can I please have somebody to move this motion? Thank you, Councillor Strange. Councillor Duggan, you happy to second?
Yes, thanks, Madam President.
Thank you. Is there anybody opposed to this motion? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 10.5, Executive Services Reports. 10.5.1, Lot 23, Carnup Road, Serpentine, Serpentine Heritage Precinct, Strategic Project Update. Can I please have a mover for this motion? Thank you, Councillor Bias. Can I please have a seconder for this motion? Thank you, Councillor Strange. Is there anybody opposed to this motion? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 10.6, confidential reports, of which there is nil. Item 11 is urgent business, of which there is nil. Item 12 is councillor questions, of which notice has been given, which there is nil. Brings us to item 13, closure. I declare this meeting closed at 9:32 p.m. Thank you, councillors and officers, for your attendance. Please enjoy the rest of your evening.